Chrissy Teigen, the model, author, and outspoken advocate whose candor has redefined public conversations around vulnerability, has once again bared her soul in a way that transcends the typical celebrity memoir. In a recent episode of a deeply introspective podcast focused on self-awareness and personal evolution, Teigen confronted one of the most shattering experiences of her life, the miscarriage of her son Jack in 2020. At 20 weeks pregnant, the loss was not just medical, it was a seismic rupture in her sense of self, leaving behind a landscape of grief compounded by physical and emotional turmoil. What makes this revelation particularly poignant is Teigen's unflinching admission about turning to a controversial weight loss medication amid the despair, a decision born from a deep depression of seeing this pregnant belly with no baby in it. Her story, raw and unfiltered, invites us into the intimate corridors of mourning, where societal expectations clash with human fragility. The podcast setting was intimate, almost confessional, allowing Teigen's voice to carry the full spectrum of her emotions, from quiet sorrow to defiant resolve. She began by recounting the immediate aftermath of the loss, a time when the world continued its spin while hers ground to a halt. The physical remnants of pregnancy lingered, a cruel reminder of what was absent. "My body was completely stuck," she confessed, her words laced with the exhaustion of someone who had poured everything into nurturing a life that slipped away. Teigen, known for her love of indulgent comforts like rich desserts and family feasts, had embraced the joys of pregnancy without restraint. "I really let myself indulge when I was pregnant, so when I lost that baby at 20 weeks, I had probably gained an extra 40 pounds, she shared. This weight, she explained, wasn't merely numerical, it symbolized a stasis, a body betraying the forward momentum she craved. In the haze of grief, Teigen's mind turned to solutions that promised control in a situation defined by helplessness. Enter Ozempic, the semaglutide-based drug that had surged in popularity for its dramatic effects on appetite and metabolism. For Teigen, it wasn't about vanity or fleeting trends. It was a lifeline amid the deep depression that enveloped her. She described the internal battle vividly, mornings staring at a mirror that reflected not just curves but echoes of unfulfilled dreams, afternoons lost in the what-ifs of nursery plans never realized. The medication became a tool in her arsenal against stagnation, a way to reclaim agency over her form when emotional healing felt elusive. Yet, Teigen's narrative doesn't glorify this choice. She dissects it with the precision of a surgeon, acknowledging the ethical debates swirling around such drugs, their accessibility, side effects, and the pressure they exert on women's bodies post-trauma. To understand the depth of Teigen's struggle, one must zoom out to the broader context of pregnancy loss. Each year, countless women navigate this silent epidemic, often in isolation due to stigma or misunderstanding. Teigen's public sharing in 2020 was groundbreaking, humanizing a pain that many suffer quietly. But here, years later, she peels back another layer, revealing how grief morphs over time. It's not linear, it's a labyrinth of triggers: the sight of a baby bump in a crowd, the anniversary of a due date, or the subtle ache during family gatherings. For Teigen, married to musician John Legend and mother to 4 vibrant children, Luna, Miles, Esty, and Ren, these moments are amplified by the joy surrounding her living brood. Jack's absence is a shadow that dances at the edges, a poignant reminder of love's incomplete circle. Teigen's journey with her body post-loss is a masterclass in reclaiming narrative. She has long been a champion of body positivity, gracing covers with stretch marks unretouched and sharing unposed glimpses of postpartum reality. But vulnerability has its limits, and in this podcast she admitted to the darker undercurrents. The 40 pounds weren't just physical, they were emotional ballast carrying the weight of "why me?" and "what now?" Ozempic entered as a pragmatic response, helping her shed not just pounds but the suffocating sense of being trapped in her own skin. She detailed the process with candor: the initial hesitance, the consultations with medical professionals, the small victories of clothes fitting looser and energy returning. Yet, woven throughout is a thread of caution. Teigen stresses that her path isn't prescriptive. "This was my story in that moment," she emphasized, urging listeners to honor their own timelines. This revelation ties into Teigen's larger oeuvre as an author and influencer. Her cookbooks, brimming with recipes that celebrate comfort and community, now take on added resonance. Dishes once shared during pregnancy glow with bittersweet memory, while new creations symbolize renewal. Through her platform, she extends empathy to others in similar straits, fostering dialogues on mental health resources, support groups, and the importance of professional therapy. Legend, her steadfast partner, emerges as a pillar in her recounting, his quiet presence during hospital vigils, his encouragement through fitness routines, his shared tears in the dead of night. Their bond, forged in fame's furnace, proves resilient, a model for couples weathering storms together. As Teigen reflects on the years since, patterns emerge in her healing. Cooking became therapy, each chop and stir a meditative act of creation. Exercise evolved from obligation to empowerment, walks with her children turning into lessons in resilience. And writing, always her salve, poured out in essays and social posts that connect her to a sisterhood of survivors. She speaks of Jack not as a ghost but as a light, his brief existence imprinting lessons of impermanence and appreciation. He taught me to hold tighter, love fiercer, she mused, her voice cracking with the beauty and breakage. Teigen's shocking revelation isn't shock for shock's sake, it's a bridge to understanding. By voicing the intersection of grief and bodily autonomy, she dismantles taboos, inviting compassion over judgment. In a culture quick to commodify women's forms, her story reclaims space for complexity, where loss coexists with laughter, where medication aids but doesn't define recovery. As she moves forward, Teigen embodies hope's quiet revolution, one honest word at a time, turning personal pain into communal strength. Her miscarriage, once a chasm, now a catalyst, reminding us that from deepest sorrow, profound growth can bloom.